everyone. This is Andres Pop Culture Guy. Happy February, everyone. Happy February. You know, you're starting a new month. And as I say before, with my Bond Retrospective slash review, starting a new format. Hopefully it's successful. Well, anyway, it's successful because it gives me less work to do, make these retrospective reviews. So we got another spectacular big podcast respect slash review. I got 4 movies to review for you guys. You can enjoy for this month of February. And 2 are related to the live stream reviews I'm gonna have coming up. Of course, Deadpool and Scream are the 2 lucky winners of movie reviews for a live stream for Andreas Pop Culture Talk. And I got 2 ones that are related to the middle man reviews channel as coming back to do pods with them. I did the Terminator 2 pod, which is out now, and I'm doing the Clockwork Orange, my pick. I was kind of surprised it got through, so that's great. So I'm doing again another pod with them with Clockwork Orange, a great classic. Well, classic Stanley Kubrick, not great. I have to say it's very tough movie. So we'll get to that. So yeah, so those are your 4 movies in this spectacular big movie review. So enjoy. So the first one we're going to go with is Deadpool. Happy 10th anniversary, Deadpool. I can't believe it's 10 years since the original first movie in the Deadpool series, the 2016 film, directed by Tim Miller, starring Ryan Reynolds himself. So, yeah, one of the greatest anti-hero, the Merc with a Mouth, Wade Wilson, was once a special forces operator, but turned mercenary after being subjected to a rogue experiment. He finds himself with an accelerated healing and transformed himself into Deadpool. Armed with weapons and a wicked sense of humor, of course, he will stop at nothing to track down the man responsible of his condition. Never have seen my friends or many friends, I say, I've never seen many of my friends or fans of comic book slash moviegoers dying to see a character like Deadpool on the big screen. I mean, he was a relatively unknown character. I mean, it was a bit like how everyone wanted to see the Avengers on the big screen back in late 2011, or 2012, I have to say, early 2012. But it was bad enough the studios can't seem to get the character right with the disaster that was X-Men Origins Wolverine. Dear Lord, I can't believe I saw that movie in 2009. Jesus Christ. Anyway, but the respect and love that the fans have for this character is stay strong. The last 10 years, I mean, look at Deadpool Wolverine, the biggest rated R film of comic book, which is crazy. To everyone, praise was finally answered by this film. It did not disappoint because Deadpool lives up to the hype by being an entertaining and hilarious superhero film. While I don't think it's a masterpiece as some of the other comic book movies, but I have enjoyed watching the first film. I think it's definitely the best in the X-Men Fox universe, and it's a film that fans wanted and they got, which is great. Deadpool is a hilarious superhero film. The story isn't groundbreaking, but it does trick, and same goes for the action, which isn't bad either. The greatness of this film lies in this humor and its uniqueness of character development, which is great, which is something like none other superhero film does before. Whether you talk about the constant breaking for role, the where you are of it, and the very different characteristic of this film that differ from other superhero films, to be frank, it arguably doesn't even justify the superhero stamp. It's something different, which is true. It's a rom-com disguised as a superhero film, I have to say. The writing in this film was surprisingly good, which I did expect for the film when I got to this point. With this character, of course, there are Easter eggs, references not to the comics and Marvel movies, but in this movie, it is done in such a way that feels kind of refreshing, which is cool. I know for the fact that I missed a lot of the jokes and references due to the amount of laughter that I had watching this film so many times. I can say with a brave phrase that the writing is the biggest strength because of its self-awareness and a long time writing of this film in the development hell, which is crazy. It itself was all top-notch at the end. The action in itself is a beautifully designed and employed, playfully visuals and using pretty much every camera technique available. It never feels repetitive and the pacing is close to perfection, but that's probably the key to me liking the film so much is there's a beating heart underneath all the action and carnage that has a lot to do with the how brilliant Ron Reynolds portrayed the character and the great chemistry he has with his co-star, Ron Backman. What came as a complete surprise to me how unabashedly romantic Deadpool is. The love story in this film is probably the most sincere I ever seen in a superhero movie ever, because sometimes these love stories are not always great. There's a few exceptions I have to say, like the Gwen and Pierce relationship or the Pepper and Tony. This is definitely a top tier couple relationship and love story in general. It gives the film the strong emotional core which so many of these movies lack, and something I have to say that the layered Deadpool sequels lack too, because don't like what they do with the couple in the sequel. But anyway, then you got the humor, which I initially feared this could be a non-stop juvenile wisecracks to become distracting. Also works surprisingly well. None of that's in there. It's very well integrated jokes. Not every line or every joke lands for me per se, but the beauty of this character is that they don't really need to. Deadpool can help himself as long as he's able to breathe and he can crack wise and make fun of himself. Those around him. It's a well-oiled machine of comedy here. He's not a stand-up comedy whose jokes need to land. He's a madman. Add relatively very entertaining one, and then the comedy in the case is born of tragedy. Now, despite all the praise I give this film, I have to say, let me get into some of the nitpicks or the complaints I would have to give this film. It's not a perfect film. The film in this revenge tale could be more memorable, I'd say, and the story itself is a bit too derivative to really do its unconventional protagonist. He's not a hero, justice. But it's a damn good first entry in the franchise that will hopefully explore the character in this world much larger extent in the sequels, which they do, but not the way I kind of hope not the way I was imagining, but hey, what else are you gonna do? And it's a very fun movie for another reason. Deadpool's financial success was really important because it points out really clearly it could play play a virtual role how studios henceforth review the financial process of rare arts films. That is true, and we'll hopefully see more of that in the future, which we did. It needs to be said that the film not be ever it's not for everyone. It's a cruel and it's filled with violence and sex. The humor won't appeal to anyone either. It's quite dark sometimes and very satirical. Sure, Deadpool isn't for anyone, but the right audience is a masterpiece or a comedy masterpiece. The humor is great, and they are constantly jokes around that make you laugh. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. He does so well with the role. It's truly great that he's still continuing playing this character. Hopefully, we see him again in Secret Wars, and hearing that he's doing a fourth one. So, just running down some key things that Deadpool did, because it was a cultural phenomenon. So, first up, Deadpool changed the game. Regular refills, it could be financially successful. True. Comic accurate animation didn't need to be standardized. Very true. Studios could trust niche characters if it's executed with confidence. Its success paved the way for central entries like Logan, Joker, Deadpool, Wolverine, the Penguin. If we didn't have Deadpool, we couldn't get all those rated R or mature storylines that we got recently. So I will give kudos to Deadpool for that. So Deadpool isn't just a great superhero film, is a course correction for the genre. It thrives of its relevance and identity. Ryan Reynolds' total ownership of the role is perfect. The rating I would give this film is an 8.5 out of 10. Highly recommend everyone to see this film. So happy 10th anniversary, Deadpool. You're a great, solid origin superhero film. All right, thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy the Deadpool 10th anniversary review. So now the next movie review. This is a crazy one to jump to. So Deadpool now going into A Clockwork Orange, 1971 film directed by Stanley Kubrick, is the 1971 adaptation of the Anthony Burgess novel from 1962, and it stars Malcolm McDowell. Now, Clockwork Orange is not an easy film to watch. It's never meant to be. The Stanley Kubrick 1971 adaptation of the Anthony Burgess novel is deliberately, a proactive examination of free will, violence, and state control, wrapped in a bold, unsettling aesthetic that will still feels confidential decades later. This isn't entertainment. It's a traditional sense of challenge. So, I'm a big fan of Stanley Kubrick. He's one of my favorite directors after Christopher Nolan. I love his films. I think I did a ranking of Stanley Kubrick a long time ago. I need to change it. I think I put Doctor Strangelove as number one, but I put Clockwork Orange as number one. I kind of switch it. Love Stanley Kubrick. His films are amazing. Top tier films in terms of cinema. Like Stanley Kubrick has a way of telling stories about violence without actually exploiting them or going into his exaggeration. I mean, look, in Doctor Strangelove or How I Learned Stop Worrying and Learn to Love the Bomb, violence as word was discussed, overheard, but never truly seen until the finale reel when a shred of atomic bombs explode into bright mushrooms as the song Rule Me Again lovely played in the background. I mean, Pro-G is there. And then, of course, you got 2001 Space Odyssey, where HAL 9000 terminates like a entire crew in the most chilling way, and we all see it is as a computer screen indicating that the termination of life. Really, like, crazy there. And then, Clockwork Orange. Kubrick actually brings a story about violence, and even then is an art direct within an inch of its life. While the film's depiction of violence and sex are what it's most known for, Clockwork Orange works on far deeper levels I think people are giving it to be. I know it's a such tough subject matter, but the film does a good job dissecting the disturbing portrayal of youth and the satirical depiction of a government attempts to create a better society are brilliant. But the most fascinating aspect of the Clockwork Orange is the questions it poses about good and evil. That's really and it's one of those weird films that they talks about that. While the crimes that Alex commits at the beginning of the film are atrocious, I have to say, what the government does to him is even worse. When I got to see this film, it's crazy. The film presents, the obviously worst aspect of man, but shows that even those are still favorable to a man without the choice. People can denounce the film because it's brutal content, but the importance of the questions it posed can't be denied. So, and that's very true. So let's kind of get into it, I guess. So, performances and the characters, get highlights. Obviously, Michael McDowell delivers one of the most iconic performances in cinema history as Alex the Arch, a charismatic, monstrous, intelligent, and horrifying all at once. Kubrick forces the audience into a just dangerous position, like myself. You're repulsed by Alex's actions, yet magnetically drawn to his premise. The supporting cast largely functions as extensions of the system around Alex. I mean, the point of view. This is the most point of view of the Kubrick film where we're really following the main protagonist. Because sometimes in these films we don't follow one particular character or a couple. It's always like moving around. The only time we I guess focus on a character could be Eyes Wide Shut or maybe Film in a Jacket maybe, but Clockwork Orange is like the most focused. Like we follow our main antagonist, and that's Alex. Authority figures, scientists, and the victims, each represent the different forms of power and moral compass that the film is discussing. The themes and ideas is really strong in the Clockwork Orange. Definitely this is the most dramatic Kubrick film ever in his filmography. At its core, a Clockwork Orange interrogates a disturbing question: is it better to be evil by choice or good by force? Kubrick presents violence not just as the individual failing, but as a social constant, as a predicted by both the criminals and the institutions. The Ludovic technique meant to cure Alex strips him of the choice, turning into something less than a human. A Clockwork Orange, the film argues that morality without instinct is meaningless. And then speaking of Kubrick, I've been mentioning him. He's one of the best directors for a reason. I mean, his direction style was so iconic. I mean, this film, Kubrick's direction is precise, cold, and meticulously controlled, like any other of his films, if you see them. Every frame is designed to unsettle. The stylized violence, the stark production design, and the use of classic music, particularly Beethoven, create a jarring contrast that enforces the film's themes. I mean, the use of the Nanset's land, I say, impersonate the viewers in the alien culture. Really good one. I mean, the Nansen's land is another iconic part about the film, forcing them to adapt just as Atlas does, rather than offering an easy encounter, which is true. And before we leave, I know, this film has a legacy, but a very controversial one. I mean, few films have sparked as much controversy as this film does. I mean, the exploration of governing, I said the accusation of the glorifying violence following its release, and Cooper himself withdrawing the film from the UK circulation for years, really is telling. Yet, its lasting impact on cinema, music, and fashion and pop culture is undeniable. I mean, look at The Simpsons, and Dark Knight with the performance of Ledger's Joker is very much like a Clockwork Orange. This comfortable is the point of the film. So that's it. All right, that's just wrapping up. Like, happy. Speaking of that, this year is the 55th anniversary of Clockwork Orange. So, it's a fearless, confidential work. I say yes. Confidential work that refuses to offer easy answers. It forces the viewer to sit with uncomfortable truths about power, control, and human nature. The best fight is it's not a movie to enjoy. It's a very thoughtful film. You ask me, like, should I watch it or not? Look, the best advice I can give you is to see it for yourself. Much like a lot of other Kubrick films, relying on anyone's opinion won't help one bit, to be honest. Seeing it and deciding for yourself isn't the best course of action. That's the best advice I can give you. That being said, despite its strong aesthetic, merit, I could have really recommended seeing it. I was to say, see it once and think it's either good or bad. It's not a film to enjoy. It's a film really to think about for a long time. Because of the morally offense and sickening content that most don't appreciate. Overall, I gotta say, this is maybe been the hardest one to review in my channel. I have to say, yeah, I've been reviewing very, acclaimed films or bad ones. I have to look at what kind of lesser films of the predecessor, but Clockwork Orange is one of those dense and complex films I review, and I highly recommend it. But for just curiosity to see it and enjoy the thematical discussions that the film has and its themes and ideas about, is it better to be evil by choice or good by force? And if you're a big Cooper fan, it's one of his top tier films. So I highly recommend for your Cooper friends to watch it. And a disturbing masterpiece that remains relevant and as divisive as today as it was in 1971. So rating, I'll give this a 10 out of 10. I love this film. Number one Kubrick film. Not for everyone. So just a fair warning. See it once and just think about it. If you enjoy the film for this thematical crunch, it's a really strong film. But it's not a thing for everyone. It's not for everyone. So that's my review of Clockwork Orange. I think my first Kubrick film. Yeah, so happy I did this as my first Kubrick film. For educational reasons, I have to say. But now let's get into a very comfortable and entertaining film. So my next review, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991 film. So this was my first 2026 punk with the Middleman reviews. It's released now in the YouTube and on the internet circulation, so please watch that. It's one of the best plots ever. We made a lot of references to Arnie. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, directed by James Cameron, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ethan Hampton, Robert Patrick, and Edward Furlong. course, the story deals with Arnold, Arnold's version of Terminator, the T-800, returning from the future to protect John Connor, who someday will lead the human resistance against the world run by machines by Skynet, of course. And at the same time, we get Linda Hampton return as Sarah Connor, who also is trying to protect, her son and prevent the Judgment Day ever happening. So yeah, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is isn't just one of the greatest sequels ever made. It's one of the greatest action film sequels of all time. James Cameron took a lean sci-fi horror concept and expanded it into a blockbuster epic without losing its intelligence, urgency, and emotional core. This is a rare sequel that outclassed the original in scale, heart, and cultural impact, which is true, but I still like the first one. And this for the small and tightness of this writing. But yeah, so this time, Arnold is the good guy, as he goes up against a lethal, much more advanced prototype set up to kill the kid, John Connor. The CGI used to create this new T-100 Terminator was just jaw-dropping. When I first saw it, and still at this time, it still holds up. Through technology to create such things is now infinitely more available, but this has led problems to my book in recent films. But we're not talking about that. But now there's just too much done with the computers, I'd say, and the stunts don't seem as wonderful if it's all done as a computer. But most of the stunts in T2 were live action, and story in the film used all types of vehicles and explosions. Director James Cameron really sold these stunts in terms on how he filmed them. Not all directors are good as Cameron. That is a given. But directors looking at making action films should take a note of other strengths found in the construction of T2 or other Cameron films like Aliens or the first Terminator. Or True Lies. True Lies is great. First of all, you don't need a shaky camera moves to sell your audience that there is exciting and crucially happening. Here, the photograph is crisp and detailed. You see everything clearly that you need to see right now, right down to the little things. The action scenes are perfectly blocked, and the spacing between the hostile parties is, or the hero or villain is easy for the audience to figure out. Who's shooting at who. How far apart they are from each other. I love that. That's something that the goddamn mid 2000 action films didn't understand. I'm looking at you, take a tree, and you goddamn editing Lee Nathan jumping into France. God damn it. Pardon my French. Cameron also made sure his entire cast was proficient with the weapons they're going to fire in the film, which is really trying. I mean, the guns they use here is like, crazy. And the guns run out of ammunition, need to be reloaded at appropriate times. Nothing seems artificial in these, shootout scenes in the Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's so realistic. Let's get into like the performances and characters. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger's second attempt of the T-800 is so spectacular. He undergoes one of the most iconic character reveals in cinema history. I was surprised that he was the good guy when I first saw this. Turning the former villain into the protector could have felt like a gimmick, but it works because Cameron reframes the Terminator as a learning machine, discovering the humanity through John Connor here. Linda Hampton's Sarah Connor in this film is true powerhouse. I think it's definitely one of her best performances in her career. Maybe I do like her performance in Dante's Peak, but this is her, Ripley performance, like Aliens. So it's one of the best. And Gone is the frightened survivor from the Terminator. In her place is a foul, hardened, traumatized warrior, turning on the edge of secession, which is true. Her transformation grounds the film emotionally and gives it the real weight, which is really spectacular, and it's the best thing about the film, I have to say. But another best thing about this film is the villain. Robert Patrick's T-100 remains one of the most terrifying villains ever put on screen. His cold, silent, and relentless pursuit is so terrifying. He represents the invincibility of death with no personality, no mercy, and no pause. Really spectacular. And John Connor, who has been played by so many actors, I do enjoy Furlong's character. This is definitely the best version of John Wigan. I appreciate some of the versions. Terminator 3, don't mind, but it's not the version I kind of expected. I love Christian Bale, but his version in Salvations, John Connor, was like kind of too much like Batman, and I did mind the, was it Jason Clarke's version of John Connor in Genesis, but the twist with him with the villain, like him being the villain, that movie is like, I he's good as the villain there, but I don't know, that was maybe too much of a risk and didn't pay off. But anyway, but yeah, overall, Edward Furlong's performance as the young Sean Connery is really good, and it's the most realistic depiction of like a angsty teenager. And then the themes of this film, this were really deep themes that's like just so industry, and it just expand what Terminator explored. So beneath the explosions, I mean, D2 is about the fate versus free will, the fear of technology, the cost of survival, what it means to be human. The film's central idea, there's no fate but what we make, and it turns a scientific premise into a hopeful one. And the human statement about choice and responsibility is in the film, and they do such a executed so well in this film. The themes is so executed in the film, and you see that in the visuals and the dialogue, which is really great. And more than that, let's get into the entertainment of it. The action and the effects here are so spectacular. I mean, the action scenes are legendary from this film. Remarkable. They still hold up. The blend of practical effects and the groundbreaking CGI was evolution in 1981, from the LA River chase to the steel mill finale. Every sequence advances the narrative rather than interrupting them, and that's true. Then you got a camera here. Speaking his direction and pacing, Camera's direction in this film is confident, precise. This is the camera we all know. The pacing is nearly flawless, balancing the relentless action with the quiet character moments, which is good. Even at over 2 hours, the film never feels bloated, which is crazy. It just moves along so well. Even this is my first time seeing the extended edition, actually, and it still goes really well. So I like the execution, folks. I seen it. It's really good. I think I like the initial material that was cut off. I wish some of them were. I understand they cut off, and some I kind of wish they kept it. But I think the director cut does work, and I think Cameron does a really good job of how to cut out what's necessary in his films for the meaning of the story, which is good. Weakness for the film, or nitpicks I have to bring up. Well, I mean, some of the dialogue leads into early '90s sentimental, especially John Connor's way of talking is very '90s. And just, I mean, the ending is great, but later French centuries, I mean, the later Territory sequels are so bad. They do dilute the impact of this ending, not the film's fault. It's mainly the franchise fault, but it doesn't distract my enjoyment of the film. Just need to bring that up. But mostly, it's a great film. It's really good. That's the only way I kind of see this film. But yeah, so just overall, the Terminator 2 Judgment Day is an absolute must-see classic. Highly recommend to see this film. If you have not seen it, buy it, please, because once you have seen it, you want to do so. Anyways, we watch it over and over and over again, as I did before. It's a fast-paced, well enjoyable for just about every audience. Terminator 2 is a blockbuster filmmaking. It's a peak, spectacular with a substance, emotional, with muscle. Weirdly, it's at a standard of few films have ever matched. Yeah, and then few sequels ever matched either. So the rating for this film, yeah, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. It's one of the perfect sequel, a genre-defining classic. It's a reminder that action films can still have something meaningful to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed Terminator 2 Judgment Day retrospective/review. So now the last review is going to be Scream. The 30th anniversary of Scream. Yes, the 1996 horror film directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williams, starring Neve Campbell, David Arquette, and Courtney Cox, Matt Litter, and Skid Aldrich as the cast of this first entry of the long-running classic meta slasher film series. So yeah, love Scream. As you know, I love Scream since the new rebooted one from 2022 made a lot of content to it, so you can check that out. So yeah, 30 years, crazy. And I did start right about Scream didn't just revive the slasher genre in the mid 90s. It redefined it. At the time when the horror felt stale and self-pity as accidental in the 90s, right? Wes Craven and Craven Williams delivered a film that was self-aware without being smug, scary without being disrespectful, and smart enough to change the rules while still playing by them. Rare thing for a horror film uh, uh, to do, but also a rare horror film that understands its audience, and then it uses that knowledge against them. What made Scream successful is that it was a never, um, you know, you know, I say, pretentious or whatever. Uh, Content is it's displayed the sense of ironic self-awareness well. It took every horror cliche in the book and turned them upside down. For the kids that had seen too many horror scary movies, there was a now a film for them. And for me, the characters didn't follow the cliches, but in fact talked about them and talked about what could happen if they were in a movie. That was cool. This sense is, how you say, this sense of irony may seem tired now because we got a lot of parodies and a lot of imitators of this film after the release. But when Scream came out in 1986, we didn't have that. It was new and exciting. There was a rarely a thing to scream, don't go upstairs, or just like scream because the characters themselves were saying that. The idea of the killer being among the students was a fresh dimension to the film. Something that is fresh and dimension to the film franchise is that we get a new killer. It's not a singular character like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, or Freddy Krueger, to name a few. We always get a different Scream villain with a different motive surrounding around Cindy, of course, except for the Carpenter sisters and the newer films 5 and 6. That dissects the horrors of the interval in the different times that the sequels are released, and it's really refreshing because as fears gives way to paranormal and not being able to trust anyone, the subversions of accepted horror cliches, in particular in the opening 10 minutes, are not to get away anyway what happened in the opening, but it's really shocking because I didn't expect how the opening does, and it just grounds the film, and it's like not every character is safe. So it's spectacular. It was the sense of evolution that made Scream such a breath of fresh air, I have to say, for the horror genre. So it is only a shame that Craven's genius has been rebuffed so many times that his work has dated far too quickly. That's been the judge of that for you guys, but I don't think so. I think Scream has aged pretty well. I mean, you have to understand it's from the 90s, so that's really it. But I give credit that Craven and Kevin Williams, have also created a new horror story with Ghostface. But it's not a particular character, but it's just like a mask and an iconic mask, which is really cool. And it helps to know who done it sooner with this particular costume. The Scream mask has become just symbolic and perhaps even more so than that of a Michael Myers or James Foley's. So, yeah. So let's get into the characters' performances. It's so spectacular. I mean, Neve Campbell's Cindy Prescott is one of the horror's most enduring final girls for a reason, because she's reactive, vulnerable, involving, and relatable. She's not instantly fearless, but she earns her survival, which is good. And then you get the supporting characters like Courtney Cox. Gail Weathers brings a bite and ambitions, while Dave Arquette's Dewey provides the unexpected heart and humor, which is really great. Then you got the villains. That's spoilers. So, I mean, you guys know who's the villains. I mean, Skirt Erich and Matt Fleers are the gold face of this film, first entry, and the performances are crucial to the film's success, and they fully embrace the heightened tone without tipping the mystery too early. Their energy fuels the films unpredictably, which is really true. Then you get into the writing, because I haven't mentioned the writing here, but like this is important. Writing is such an important thing for the film, and especially this kind of Sandra. I think Karen Williams did such a good job of the writing of Scream. I mean, the meta horror writing here is top notch. Karen Williams' script is the film's secret weapon. The rules of the horror aren't just a clever dialogue; they become the narrative tools. The film openly acknowledges the cliches while still delivering the genuine, tense, and effective scares. The opening sequence alone with Drew Barrymore remains one of the greatest cold openings in horror history, I have to say. Still, I mean, despite some good ones in the Scream series, I mean, this one cannot be topped, unfortunately. It's just so grounded, I mean, real, like it feels real, like a snap, or like one of those like crime shows, about crimes. Is shocking and efficient and immediately establishing that no one's safe, as I said early in the review. And then let's get into the late great Wes Craven, the direction and tone. Wes Craven's direction is confident and precise. Again, using that word again for a director I love, he balanced the humor and terror without undercutting either at the same time, allowing the film to be funny and frank. And that's something that horror films always struggle with this. But Wes Craven knows how to balance this, and you can see that with the first Nightmare on Elm Street and then the first Scream here. The Ghostface Killer is both absurd but terrifying. The slasher film who feels human, clumsy, and dangerously unpredictable. Then the themes. Just looking at the themes, at its core, Scream is really about the being the being sensational, the violence as entertainment, the danger of the detachment of reality is well illustrated in the film, especially the time of the 90s. This was hit home, with how the media was just talking and just showing the crimes that were committed during that time, and of course it critiques the horror culture while clearly loving it. It's really good, and it balanced the balance where many of the interiors fail to really replicate, and that's something that Screams is really good at. And yeah, and just I mentioned briefly, the legacy and the impact this film has. I mean, Scream is single-handedly launched a new era of horror in the late 90s. I know what you did last summer, the revive of Halloween, uh, urban legend, and all that. It really revived the horror genre, like, afterwards, and still you feel the effects of it, like, still to the day, and creating a franchise that has remained culturally relevant for this decades. I mean, 6 sequels, and the 30th anniversary is coming out this year, but also a new film coming out this month, the 7th film, where finally we get back Cindy Prescott as the lead. Not gonna talk about the crazy production troubles of Screen Scamming, but yeah, we're getting her back, and getting a new installment this year towards the end of February, which is great. Yeah, it can still be felt in a modern meta horror and the genre's savvy storytelling to this day, so it's great. Weakness in nitpicks. Yeah, just like Terrier 2. I mean, some of the late 90s aesthetics are dated to this film slightly. The dialogue and stuff like that, but I kind of expected with these films from the 90s, you could tell they're part of that, that decade. And then the red herrings, we watched the film many times, and especially reviewing I think I reviewed the first movie 2 years ago with the Middleman Reviews, funny enough, and I was kind of surprised that the few supporting characters says mainly as red herrings, but that's the nature of who's done it, like mystery genre, the structure, and so I cannot really blame them for that. So, but it's still a good mystery, from this first Patty. Okay, overall, Scream is a short and scary and endless watchable slasher film. It's a slasher that knows its rules, breaks them, and dares you to keep up. And it's the genre-defining classic that proves the horror could be smart and self-aware and still terrifying at the same time. And that, I highly recommend everyone to watch this film. Happy 30th anniversary, Scream. Love you. Very excited for the 7th installment, as I say before. One of the most consistent horror slasher films. I mean, few come close to Scream in terms of quality and consistency and continuity, of course. But yeah, so the rating for this film, I'll give this a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic film. Love it. Go see the films for the 30th anniversary, and plus the new installment that's coming out in February 27 of 2026, later this month. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining this awesome Andres Pop Culture Guide Retrospective / Review Pond for all 4 films, all 4 radar films, I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be a new format for the restriction. It feels where I can do all of, I don't know how many, but like all in once in one pod, and then I'll release them in clip, separate them as individual reviews layered on in the month or so. Either co-starring the upcoming live stream reviews I stated before, or or my involvement of any pods or collaboration I do with any YouTubers. I have done like Minimum Review or Luke from the Franchise Addict. You're gonna expect them as in the channel immediately in the month to celebrate these films. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, everyone. I'll have more retrospective down the line. Hopefully you enjoyed this 4 awesome reviews of classic movies in cinema from different soundtracks. This is probably my favorite I have done so far. This is pretty cool collective of movies that I had to review, and they're the best. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Love you. And ciao. Bye bye.